Hi, my name is Kelly and I'm coming to you on behalf of Collective Recovery. Now, this video series has been probably the most difficult video series that I've ever had to record because what we're talking about this week is grief and navigating the grief process. And that is something that is probably one of the most difficult things you can do in recovery. I personally have had to do this multiple times and I can't say it gets any easier. But that being said, I do have certain tools in my toolbox to be able to successfully navigate through a time like this anytime it has happened to me. I personally have had women that I've sponsored passed away. I've had loved ones like grandparents pass away. I've had friends that have overdosed, and it's been very, very difficult. And when we are, especially in early recovery, we have a lot of uncomfortable emotions anyways, so it can be really difficult to handle our emotions. But when we're grieving, it's especially uncomfortable and especially difficult. So in the last few videos, we've talked a little bit about the 5 stages of grief and then some tangible suggestions that you can take with you to successfully navigate the grief process, right? So there are 5 stages of grief according to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. I don't ever know if I'm saying her name right. She wrote a book called On Death and Dying in 1969, which is basically conceptualizing how people react to death, right? And so her 5 stages of grief are, the first one is denial, and then anger, and then bargaining, and then depression, and then acceptance, right? And I talked a little bit about those stages in the first 2 videos and kind of what to look for. But for the purposes of this video, we really want to just share with you something that you can do to navigate successfully through the grieving process. In the video number 1, we talked about just acknowledging that you're in the grief process. That is huge, right? If you can acknowledge that you're grieving, it sort of just gives you that permission to just feel everything that you need to feel, right? The second thing that we shared was just really understand that your grieving process is going to be unique to you, and just accept that grief can trigger those uncomfortable emotions. And as you're grieving, just know that you are going to grieve differently than somebody else, and neither is good or bad. It just is what it is. It's just different, right? So give yourself permission to grieve how you need to grieve. The third suggestion was really just take care of your physical well-being. When we're physically healthy and feeling good, we are able to more successfully navigate through those uncomfortable emotions that grief brings up. Now our 4th suggestion is really about seeking support. This is absolutely invaluable. In fact, every time I've gone through some sort of loss, I have always sought the support from either a support group like a grief support group or a therapist. And usually a grief support group most likely is going to be run by a therapist. A lot of them are. Not always, but a lot of times they are. So seeking a therapist, seeking that support from a therapist or a group is going to be absolutely so valuable when you are going through the grief process. Not every person grieves the same, but those support groups can really help you feel part of. They can help you feel not so alone. Seeking help from a therapist, the therapist can give you some guidelines, some suggestions on how you can successfully navigate through this time in your life, right? So all 4 of these videos this week were very difficult to record, but very, very valuable information on grief and the grieving process, and some things that you can start to do in order to just navigate successfully through that, right? There's been a lot of death, with certain things going on globally. There's also just a lot of death in recovery anyways. We start to love people in recovery, and then something happens. And so, this is something that we have to learn at some point to really just navigate through, right? And no 2 persons are going to navigate through it the same. So just give yourself that permission to do what you need to do to get through it. All right, well, if you or a loved one is struggling with addiction or substance abuse, please give us a call. Our phone number is 1-866-UTAH-HOPE. Also, we do what's called a free benefits review, and you can go online for that at collectiverecoverycenter.com, or you can just message us here and we're happy to give you a call and go through your benefits to make sure that you qualify. If you liked this video, you like this video series, please go ahead and hit the like button. Let us know in the comments. We would love to make more videos like this for you. And again, thank you so much for joining us this week while we shared on this very, very serious and difficult topic. We definitely appreciate all of our community members, and we want to let you know that we are here to serve you. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week in the next video series.